So today we have a really exciting subject to talk about: wedding bands. I have Alec from the Pearls Wedding Band with us to talk everything weddings. Alec, welcome.
Thank you very much, Tang. Thank you for having me.
No, not at all. I'm excited.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
I love talking bands. Bands, it's such a massive part of the day. Like everyone always says, get two things right: good food and good entertainment. Your wedding sorted. So it's a big thing on your shoulders, Alec.
Yes, a lot of pressure.
A lot of pressure.
We often hear it can make or break the night.
Yes, 100%.
So like we carry that pressure with us when we come in, but we thrive on it, and you know we have been quite successful, and it has it's good. It's great. We love it.
Yeah, that's it. And I think when it comes to wedding bands, there are so many different types of wedding bands, and we've seen hundreds of them at this point. Everything from, you know, your real rock to country to trad to your big brass bands to even the novelty bands that only play like hip hop 90s. But there's something for everything, or for everyone, I suppose. But I think with you guys, you do kind of play to the masses when it comes to, if you're 16 or 60, you're going to play the genres that actually suit the room.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. So like, yeah, we're trying to touch all bases. We're trying to make sure that like the aunties and the uncles are looked after.
Yep.
But we're also making sure that, you know, like the 20-odd-year-olds and 30-somethings, that they're all looked after too.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
Yeah.
So like what we normally try and do is we start off ourselves a little bit older, and then we get more modern as we go. So as the night gets later and later, the more and more kind of rock we get.
Fresher and fresher as you go. Like,
yeah.
Get the room really going. But I suppose for you guys as well, like you obviously had some sort of background in music, or a love for music at least, before you went into wedding bands. And I suppose where did that come from? Where did the passion of, you know, music and
okay, so for me personally, I think it came from, you know, so my parents had great taste in music.
Okay.
Or at least in my opinion, they had great taste in music, you know.
Everyone loves their parents.
Absolutely. So like, you know, the dad was like, he listened to things like from like the Eagles, Glenn Campbell, right up to the likes of Foreigner or the Police and that kind of thing. And then my mother brought in kind of like the old Motown, like the Four Tops.
Wow.
Al
Okay.
Green, but then also, oddly enough, Cliff Richard and.
So you were exposed to like all of it. Yeah.
And then, you know, growing up in a family of 7.
Yeah.
And
7.
I'm the baby.
Okay, well, so you're the most loved.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
100%. So I got away with murder, absolute murder. And having like 5 older sisters, and so I would always be here, you know, listening to they'd listen to the radio, listening to like, you know, like 80s is a massive part of my life, and 80s music is a very, very big part of my life as well. And I put it back to my sisters listening to that kind of stuff. When they were getting ready to go out, and I was only like 5 or 6 running around the place. You know, because there was a bit of a gap there between. So like, there's 2 years between all my sisters and my brother.
Okay.
And there was about a 6-year gap. I was like maybe the cold winter night, somewhere down the line. So like,
you were the afterthought of it.
I may have been. So there's an age difference there. So you know, like I was only a little wee fella running around the place. So I was exposed to so many different genres, so many different types of music, and it stood to me, you know.
Okay, so did you always kind of like, I suppose you being lead singer or singer, vocals was always kind of like your big thing? Was singing something you just fell into and loved, I suppose?
No, absolutely. It was something that I've always, as long as I can remember, it was always something that I did. I remember having like, come Christmas time around in school, I was always called up for the choir, which I hated. I absolutely hated going to the choir.
You were that kid that will put him front and centre?
Absolutely. Yeah. And like, but I was always that kid that, because I was being put in front and centre for the choir, the rest of the lads, like, you know, like, easy target, you know, like, like this lad, like, you know, which it's all good, it's all in good fun, like, you know, but
I think it's hard. It's difficult though when you are growing up and you have a passion and not everybody understands that passion.
Absolutely.
But to stick with it, that's the
100%, 100%. And like, you know, even like the mother used to say to me that to help the plants grow around the house, to sing to them. So like, when I was a young fella,
love that.
That's brilliant. That is such a true story. I would be sit there. We had this big plant in our front room where we had a stand-up piano.
Okay.
And I'd be over in the corner singing to the second plant. Honest to God, it's ridiculous. But that's
no reaction out of the plant, but you kept going. Kept going. Yeah.
In my mind, it was getting bigger. So, you know, it was working for me.
I I absolutely love it. And then I suppose you mentioned to me before, did you do something with musicals at one stage?
I did. I chanced my arm with the Limerick Music Society.
Okay.
So I did a couple of shows with them. Very enjoyable, very intensive. A lot of rehearsals.
Yeah.
And like you're doing you could be doing 5 nights in a row, 7 nights in a row.
Yeah.
I would have loved to have continued doing it, but just
the time.
Absolutely, and working with the wedding band, you're out every weekend.
Yeah.
I couldn't commit to it. And
I suppose the difference is all between like the amount of rehearsals that go into musicals. Now, yes, you'd rehearse with a wedding band, but I suppose it's very different. It's mostly live. Like it's playing as you go kind of thing, I suppose. Yeah, when it comes to the lads. Yeah.
No, and there's a real kind of sense of communities with the big musicals, because it's a big choral thing.
Yeah.
There's loads of people involved, or I'm the only person singing on stage with the band.
Okay.
Well, there's 2 boys singing with me,
but you feel like you were the only one.
Yeah, absolutely. And they would debate whether they're actually singing or not.
Okay. It's all about me. It's all about me. Yeah. But I suppose going back into the wedding band sort of things, there's people kind of think band shows up, they get on stage, they start playing, done. There's so much more to it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I don't blame people for thinking that, because that's what they see.
Yes.
And so they see the band arrive. So we're always there for 8:30.
Okay.
We don't usually start them about 10:30.
Okay.
And that's the normal average time. People often think that they'll start earlier, or
and we hear this a lot as well when we talk to couples. They kind of say, and they'll give us a timeline, and the band are going to start at this time, and you're kind of thinking to yourself, unless this is I suppose more of an Irish wedding where we do things when you have your banqueting and then the band goes afterwards. I know around the world it's different, because say in the UK it goes a lot earlier. In America they play through the meal. When it comes to Irish weddings, it is the meal has to be finished, the room has to be changed over.
Absolutely.
And you guys have to get a bit of time. And when it comes to setting up, it's not just throw a drum kit up, a microphone, plug it in, go. There's a lot more to it.
There's a whole system to it.
Yeah.
And absolutely. And it's there's quite a bit of work in the build up to it. Now, you try to refine that down so that you can do it in the quickest possible time, because in fairness, you are trying to be as quick and efficient as possible.
Of course.
To give the bride and groom as much of your time as you possibly can when you're there. But depending on where you're going, you could be on the road for 2 hours, 3, 4 hours traveling.
Yeah.
And that's just there and then back again.
Exactly.
And then the preparation throughout the week, when you get the first dance, and and we have to rehearse. There's a whole bunch of things. There's a whole host of work that goes into one wedding that is done the week of, or even the week before the wedding, and
the preparation that goes into it.
I just don't think that people they probably don't fully appreciate it, because they don't know that it actually happens.
But I suppose it's a good thing in a sense that the room feels like, they've eaten, the band is set up, they're playing music, we're dancing, we're happy, and that's what you want them.
Absolutely.
But I suppose for the bride and groom, when they're preparing their time schedule and the bits and pieces that go into it, that just make it work and flow, I suppose, a bit better. And with the first dance, I know that I think a lot of couples, they struggle with their first dance or first dance choice. But I think people need to start thinking outside the box. You don't need, yes, you'll have the couple that they'll go for the longer kind of slow song, like Louis Armstrong, 5 minutes long. Or I've seen a crowd where they did Bryan Adams, and you're thinking, ooh, is that going to be a little bit cheesy? But on the night, the crowd around, because they knew the words, there was over 100 people singing along, so it was amazing. And then recently I saw a couple dance to was it Maniac 2000, which is almost like a rave. So when people are picking songs, I think they need to kind of think a little bit, who are we? What is our personality?
100%.
Yeah.
I think sometimes that a couple's going to get caught in the trap of that it needs to be a slow song, it needs to be a romantic song, and also because they probably feel awkward dancing, so the easy way to kind of dance is just to kind of that awkward shuffle,
the waddle.
Absolutely. Which it's often we see it, whereas we found that some of the high tempo or up tempo kind of energetic songs. It really it breaks the ice in the room and people get into it. Myself and my wife, we had Happy Together by the Turtles, which is
love it.
Yeah, which is it's a good upbeat song, and everyone was clapping and singing because everyone knew it as well. And there's something magic about that. Like when you're in a circle of your friends and family, and they're all singing to you the song on your first dance as husband and wife,
and they're there for you. They're there to support you. Like nobody's judging, or they're all kind of there for you. And I think that's a really important thing as well. The song choice is one thing, but how it's executed then, which is all on you guys, is a whole other thing. And I suppose when it comes to different songs, like, are you guys open to, if you've never done it before, possibly learning it for that wedding?
Absolutely, 100%. So like, the only thing that we would ask is like a bit of time. So and that's what we found is that like sometimes the first dance is a bit of an afterthought because obviously the bride and groom are inundated with planning and everything else that they have to do for their wedding day. So sometimes we don't get the first dance till maybe the Wednesday of that week.
Okay. Yeah.
That gives us no opportunity to learn it. So unfortunately, like those kind of songs we played either on MP3 or something like that,
Yeah. But that's a possibility as well. It's not the end of the world. Yeah.
Absolutely. So if you have some really obscure song that can't be done by like a 5-piece band or can't be justifiably done by a 5-piece band, you can always do it in MP3.
Okay.
Now we would always strive to do it, because I think there's something. It's almost like building like an instant rapport with the crowd if you're the one who's singing the first dance.
Yeah. The connection is made.
Absolutely, because we often see people kind of turn around going, and like that kind of instant judging. Oh yeah, no, they're good.
They're alright,
but in fairness, like, it builds that rapport.
Yeah.
I think straight away with the crowd, and I think that's really, really important.
I know, and I suppose with the first dance, the song is one thing, and you guys executing it, and then the other thing is, you do need to encourage wedding guests to get involved for the first dance.
Absolutely,
and it's something I'll ask bands if I'm not 100% if they do it anyway, because you don't want to be the couple if you're a little bit nervous and you're out on the dance floor, but everyone's they're around the dance floor, but they're sitting half of their back to you, arm over the back of the chair, half listening. You want them up on their feet. And I've seen you do this, and I've seen you do this really well. Out on the dance floor, mic in hand, encouraging people, let's go.
Yeah, no, for sure, for sure. And it's a thing where, so like, okay, I might be a bit, in my thinking, it's like, you should be up there with them.
Yeah.
It's
they've
like,
just fed you.
Absolutely, they just fed you. And these, like, they're your family and friends, you invite them to your special day. They mean something to you.
Yeah.
So like, I want everyone to share in this moment.
Yeah.
I think it's because it's an important moment.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
And I just think that it's no, absolutely. That you should be surrounded by those who love you and that you love.
Yeah. And I suppose then the great thing about it is if they are surrounded you, and as the first dance either ends or gets halfway through and you want a bit of support in the dance floor, they're right there. Mm-hmm. They're right there. All they should do is take a step forward. And the dance floor is there, and it's full.
And it's full.
Yeah, that's it.
And so like the way I do it, the way I think about it is that like we want to give a bit of time for the bride and groom by themselves.
Yes.
And because that's a special moment, and I want that to be captured as well by the photographers and by the videographers, and to give them that time, just the two of them. Then we bring in like their bridesmaids and groomsmen, and let just the bridal party.
Maybe parents. They
and
usually tend
parents
to,
Sometimes even uninvited, they'll just come on.
They'll
anyway.
just come on.
Exactly.
Yeah. They feel like they're part of the bridal party. Yeah,
100%. And then we want to invite everybody. We want to have that full floor as well, because
100%.
I think it's like it's this whole day is a communal thing. Like it's everyone coming together for your special day. Like,
And for you guys, you're coming in at the end of it, so that makes your job, I suppose, almost a little bit tougher because it's a long day. It's such a long day. Like some ceremonies can be at 12 o'clock. So, for girls getting ready, they've been up since 8 o'clock that morning. Hair and makeup, getting dressed, going to ceremony. And then it's a long day. They could be 12, 14 hours in before you pick up a mic and you're trying to get their energy levels that have kind of gone
up again. And they've got full bellies and everything else. And they want to probably sit down and have the chats, or they want to go to the bar and have some drinks. They've got this guy who's kind of come up to them with a microphone randomly trying to drag him onto the dance floor, so it's like But with that being said, it's important for me to have the floor full because it's important for the bride and groom to have the floor full.
But that's why they hire the likes of yourselves, because they want that.
Absolutely, of course, And like, I was saying this to you earlier about how a lot of bands will do the same kind of there's like a cohort of bands that are kind of like, we'll call them like the mainstream kind of bands that that play similar styles, similar kind of music.
Yeah.
So like you have to ask yourself, what's going to separate me or separate us from everybody else, and how do we separate ourselves? And it's about that interaction.
Yeah.
And it's about, I think it's about like genuinely giving a shit.
Oh yeah, 100%. But if you're just up there and you're just playing and you don't care what's happening down there, that's not good enough in my eyes, and that's quite a strong thing to say. But it's not like you're not just playing the music; you're interacting, you're keeping that crowd going, and you're entertaining the room. And
Absolutely.
when it comes to the room, like the atmosphere of a room can differ so differently. You could do a Friday wedding versus a Saturday wedding. You could be at a wedding where there's 60 people, or you could be at a wedding where there's 300 people.
Absolutely.
And then I suppose the actual venue itself. I've seen different rooms work so differently. Like you could be in a castle in a small space, or you could be in a banqueting room that's fit for 500 people. And I suppose for you guys, you have to approach that differently every time.
Absolutely. Yeah. And like the thing is, like at this stage when you walk into the room, you almost sense what kind of vibe it is.
Okay.
You know, and you know, so no, sometimes though it has, like, you know, my spider senses haven't been on
They've surprised you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
so like you walk in, it's like, this seems like a bit of a dull affair.
Okay.
And then as soon as the first note is struck, everyone's up and raving, and it's like, okay, no, I was completely wrong with that one. But no, you're dead right. Different rooms can instill a kind of a different atmosphere.
Yes.
So we play a lot of castles and country houses.
Yeah.
And sometimes the bar could be down the corridor, up the stairs, and half a mile away. And oh my god, that is like, that's a bit of a mood killer for the room that we're in, because when we're competing against the bar sometimes wins.
Oh yeah.
You know, no matter how
100%.
good, no matter how good or what we're doing is, you know,
you'll find a perch and you'll be quite happy. Yeah.
Go for a drink, like, you know, and
that's
it can be quite difficult to compete with the bar. But luckily, like a lot of the time, you know, people are up for it, and there's a kind of like a rotation where like people who are at the bar will come back, and you know, so it's not too bad. But you know, different rooms can instill different atmosphere for sure.
And it's just how you approach it, I suppose, and like, and I suppose for you guys as well, like it's almost probably like a worker too, because the amount of energy you have to put in, like you have to be the most upbeat person in the room. And for them to feed off your energy, I suppose, if that makes sense.
Oh, for sure. So you know, I wear a blue shirt.
That's right. Yeah, because you've got a look, don't you?
Yeah. So a look that I'm still not used to, actually. Okay. If I'm being completely honest, it still makes me feel as awkward and inside when I walk. Like,
but to everybody else in the room, it looks normal.
Oh yeah, totally. And it looks totally fine, like, you know, but inside, I'm still kind of,
this isn't me. Yeah.
But it's so like with the blue shirt, so the energy that's putting in, so it can be kind of revealing after like an hour of high energy. And I mean, like, if you ever see Lee Evans, the comedian, he can be like a little damp in places.
Little bit, so, yeah.
So like I had to go do something about that. So you know, it kind of like I had to go get a little bit fitter so that I wouldn't be, you know, like
perspiring
as much,
yes.
you know, like, so like absolutely, so like, because it is high intensity, it's high energy, and like, you know, things, people feed off your energy, so I want to give them a lot of it.
Yeah, that's it. You're kind of giving you every ounce of yourself, really, aren't you? Yeah,
absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah,
and it's not just yourself. I suppose it's like, it's obviously the lead singer has a lot on their shoulders, because I suppose people tend to put a little bit more focus than they would on the drummer who's sitting behind you. Yeah, but it's a team effort, like, when it comes to the band.
It absolutely is. Like it absolutely is. Okay, the lead singer is probably the voice and the face of the band, but you know, like, it is 100% a team effort. Like, there's guys there who are like, they're putting together the music behind you. So like we do things called medleys where we're mashing 3 or 4 songs together, which is great. Yeah, I don't do that. I sing, so like it's like there's like, it could be like the keyboard player or the guitar player who's working out the different parts and pieces to make that all come together. And you know, we do a lot of rehearsals, and you know, to make sure that we have it, you know, like solid and tight as possible. And that's great that it, like, that medley. Sorry, when you move from song to song, because it, like, you're not kind of waiting 3 minutes. It keeps it interesting. And as well as that, like, it keeps it kind of like. We do a couple of different types of medleys. One of the most popular ones is that we do like a 90s one with Free From Desire and Rhythm as a Dancer and stuff. And you can see when you make the transition into the next song, people get excited when they hear the intro to the next one, like, you know. And it doesn't give you a chance to think, I'm going to stop dancing. And that's another thing that we kind of like, over time, the setlist evolved into it's one rolling all the way through.
Yeah,
There's like, I think the biggest gap that we have between songs is probably about 15 seconds.
Okay, yeah.
Because like if you give them any chance at all, like
they'll sit down. They go to the bar. Back to the bar.
Back to the bar
Back
again.
to the bar.
Like,
Yeah.
So like we want to keep them there. We want to keep pumping and keep that floor full.
Yeah,
that's the main thing. The floor full.
And when you mentioned set lists, and I know like, and you guys probably like, I know you put so much thought into how a set list will run. Obviously, reading the room is a huge thing. Like, you change things up if you feel like you need to change things up. Absolutely. Depending on the crowd. But I know people give requests, or they might on the night come up to you and say, "Can you play?" And that's grand if you can do it. If it's your style, or before the wedding as well. I know I've heard it from yourself, and I've heard it from other bands as well, where people giving very short or very long, this is what I want you to play. Yeah. And like, honestly, in your opinion, like, this probably isn't, you're micromanaging a little bit, I suppose, when
Absolutely.
it comes to
it's not ideal for us. So like, of course, like, if you have, like, let's say if you had like 4 or 5 requests, happy days, we will incorporate them into the set list. Yeah. That's not a problem. The reason why we have a set list, and the reason why the set list is the way it is because it works. Yes. And it works in many venues. Yeah. And the thing is we read the room, but at the same time, even as we're reading the room, we find that the same songs work for the same places very often. You know, and that's why the set list is the way it is. Now, we, as I said, are happy to take on requests, you know, as long as they're not excessive. But we've had couples that have given us 40 song lists. That's the entirety of our set list. Yeah, that's it. And I think sometimes that they will take them from the set list that we have. So we have probably about 100 songs in our set list online. And you can go on and view that and see what you play, and it's all there for you. And they'll pick songs from that, which is totally fine. But sometimes they'll give us 40 songs, and there could be 15 that we've never played. Okay. Yeah. And there's a bit of work in learning all that. That's it. I think it's about trusting your band. It is 100%. Trusting your suppliers. Absolutely. Absolutely. And so I was at a wedding this weekend, and the groom turned around to me before we started. He's like, "Look, you guys do this all the time. Yeah, I'm happy to go with whatever you want to do. You're the professionals." And I was like, "You know what? Thank you so much." Yeah. And it put me at ease, which is important too, because sometimes I could be. Well, you don't want to feel a bit anxious as well, because you feel like they've booked you to do something, but then they're asking you to do something else, and you're just pushing you not out of your comfort zone, but just pushing you away from what you know you're good at. Absolutely, absolutely, because there's almost a bit of a script as well as a set list, that we go along with, and we do that because again, it goes back to it works. And it just works. Yeah. And you being the professionals at this, you know what works. You how many weddings? You probably countless hundreds of weddings down the years. Every crowd you could imagine. Absolutely. And the thing is, wherever it doesn't work, me personally, I will overanalyze everything. So after a wedding, if a certain part of the night didn't work. Okay. Or we had a light dance floor, I will think about that for a long time afterwards. It's how were we going to improve upon that? So if we had a segment of this set that was a bit light on the floor, I will go. The WhatsApp group will be hopping afterwards, going, "We need to look at this song. We need to do this maybe a little bit differently." And and the lads that I work with, they're brilliant, because they will bring back suggestions too, and they're like, "Okay, maybe if we did it this way, maybe if we up the tempo a small bit here," and we are constantly working at having zero lulls. Yeah. And just keeping it pumping. And it's not easy, because it's 2.5 hour set of trying to get everybody to just keep that energy up. Lord, the amount of songs that we've learned, that we've dumped after the first time playing them. Really? Okay. So we'd spend hours learning songs, and then we go to play them, and it's they'll fall flat. Okay. And then so my confidence in is shot for those songs, and I'll never call them again. But it's not a bad thing, because you're taking things personal, which is important as well, though, because it just means that you care. And I put putting that effort in, and so but the boys are a little bit kind of like, "Oh man, Al, can you stop making us learn songs that we're not doing, please?" Because they're spending hours doing this, Okay. But you're just adding it to the vault. Absolutely. Sure, we we might bring it back up again if we need to somewhere down the line.
Yeah.
But these are all songs for the repertoire anyway. That they're never completely wasted because we can always revisit them at some point if we need them.
Okay. And what would you think the go-to songs are? What's the crowd? What's the dance floor?
So Proud Mary is the biggest. It's if that doesn't fill the floor, there's
something wrong with the room.
I'm like, oh my God, we're in for a night tonight.
Yeah.
I'm earning my money tonight for sure. Proud Mary is a big one. Ship and Dance is another big one.
And it's amazing because it goes from like the oldies, which would be Proud Mary, like it'll never get old, and then Shut Up and Dance is more of a newer version.
Absolutely.
But everybody knows it.
Yeah. No, the age range for Shut Up and Dance is incredible.
Yeah.
It'll go from like 18 to 80. Which is great. And like what we like to do is like, so I was saying that our set is going to get progressively modern as we go along.
Yeah.
But we got a chunk near like the end of the second half, let's call it, that we do like the likes of Sweet Caroline. And that brings the older people back out again.
Yeah, that's
and
it.
It's important for me to have that because we do this big whole kind of like send-off type thing because again that's an important part of the night for us.
Yeah.
And I want to have everyone up for that. Okay. So I want to
finish it how you started.
Absolutely. Yeah. I don't want to isolate anybody either, for any part of the night.
Yeah.
I want it to be completely inclusive for everyone, you know?
Okay. Yeah.
Which is important because everyone's there for a good time.
Yeah, that's
amazing.
Just
some of them.
Yeah, and I suppose it's kind of like not everyone's going to expect that, so it's kind of a bit of a nice surprise for the room as well. When you think the band have done everything they can, they just throw one more thing in there.
We're going from like Shake It Off by Taylor Swift, and then it's like all of a sudden it's like and the crowd is like it's all like the 30-somethings and 20-somethings and the 40-year-olds.
Yeah,
and then it's like Sweet Caroline, and then here comes. Then Grendel back up onto the floor, it's great.
And I find sometimes that generation they rock it. They're amazing on the dance floor.
Yeah, because they're always the first up.
Yeah.
I just appreciate it, which is great.
Yeah, they're great for the photographs. They're like it's the expressions, and they're really loving the moments. Yeah, absolutely. But I suppose as well as that though, so you've got your first dance, and other people ask for things like. Do you get asked a lot to do father-daughter dances, mother-son dances? Is this something that is kind of has it dated?
Yeah, I think it had its day.
Yeah, I know we see it a few times a year, but we don't see it all the time.
Yeah, no, it's not. And we're the same. We see it sometimes. It would be in the minority of weddings, I think.
Yeah.
Father-daughter dances are probably more prominent than mother-son. But even at that, like it's not really happening anymore. Yeah. But we're happy to do it, and like we've done it plenty of times. So like, there's only like, and what we find is that like we're playing like the same songs an awful lot for father-daughter dances.
There's the old traditional ones, isn't there? The people that want to hear kind of thing. But I suppose it's you kind of have to think it through as well. So, the ideal situation is, you get the first dance going. The crowds around, bridal party join in, dance floor's full.
Yeah.
Happy days. You add in a few extra and you kind of have to play it so that you're still going to end up with the full dance floor situation.
There's times there where it's like, you have the dance floor full after the first dance, and then it's like, okay, everybody,
if you wouldn't mind,
because we're going to invite now to that, and it's a small bit of a buzzkill, if I'm being honest, a little bit of a buzzkill.
It's okay.
So sometimes what we suggest is maybe after the break. So when they have the teas and coffees, usually is like an hour after we start.
Okay.
So the first song back after the break, let's just do that with the father-daughter, and let's get a few more couples up.
Yeah,
that kind of eases people back into the second half of the set.
Yeah. Or I've seen people do like they'll cut the song short, like not cut it short, but they'll just do like a minute and a half, and then they'll go straight into the first dance. So I've seen people do the father-daughter dance first, so that you're still leading into the first dance,
and
still lead into the
There's actually something quite nice where it's like the father then is handing over. I know it sounds terrible. 2019, handing over the daughter to the husband.
But it doesn't matter what ceremony you're having. If your father is with you, he's still handing you over to your new groom or your new bride.
Yeah.
It's still there. Like those traditions, I don't think they'll ever completely leave. Like everyone does things their own way, but if your dad is there with you,
there is something very nice about it.
I think. Yeah, and it's special. It's family.
Absolutely, it is. Yeah. And I think like if you have it that way, where the father-daughter dances first, and there's it's symbolic then as well. I think.
And everyone has their traditions, I suppose. Yeah, that's it exactly. But I suppose we'll bring it back to a little bit of if you just got engaged or you're on the wedding planning kind of, because you got married recently yourself. You did.
Yes, I got 2 years ago.
How was that kind of on the being on the other side of things?
It was great.
Careful now, because I know your wife is here.
Yeah. It was great. Our wedding coordinator wasn't entirely. I think she found it tough.
Okay.
Only because I know what goes on with weddings, and I know kind of the behind the scenes at weddings. I was quite a stickler for wanting it, right.
But that's okay, because I mean, you see things like it's the same as myself. Like if I were to go get married again, God help the poor wedding coordinator, because I probably ruined their lives. I'm a nice person, but I've seen things that are unnecessary.
Absolutely.
That are they just don't work, and they're just they're moving things along for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
Like I'm very much all about the couple, and I will do anything for the couple. I will be on their side, and you guys, by the signs of it, are the same kind of thing. So I suppose when you're getting married yourself, you've seen the pitfalls. You've seen what's right, what works, what doesn't, and you're kind of like the poor coordinator.
I know, yeah. No, she had her work cut out for her, in fairness.
That's it. And was there anything from your own wedding that you give advice to people from being on the other side?
I would say, plan in advance, for sure. Get in early.
Okay.
So that if you want the venue that you want, you want to book it early. Yeah. So often, even going back to when people are booking us, it's it could be for 2021 or 2022. Yeah. It's and they actually almost kind of feel embarrassed. I know, look, it's miles away now.
But it's not.
It's not.
No,
and
it's not.
if you want to get what you want.
Yeah. You need to be in
early.
there. Yeah, that's it.
For sure, do it early.
I don't think there's and you guys don't have a block of that 3 years is too far. Like you'll take them. Yeah, and we're the same when it comes to taking bookings. But I think you're right. You need to. And another thing I've is great for people when they're booking as well is to train. If you've got a definite, right, this is going to be a venue, this is going to be a band, this is going to be a photographer, and so on. Coordinate with a few of them, throw a couple of dates out to try and optimize.
Yes.
To get them all together, which I've done a couple before, and I think it's great. But for when it comes to actually sourcing the wedding bands that you think would be right for you, because everyone's different.
Absolutely.
We'll watch a film, you'll love it, I'll hate it, and that's people, that's humans. But when it comes to actually finding your wedding band, I know it can be live is one thing, and your video online is another thing, and trying to represent yourself online is, I suppose, for you guys, it's quite difficult, is it?
It is, yeah. Because you can't translate that energy that you get in the room. Yeah. And even actually, I was talking to a photographer recently enough who was saying that even when you go to see a band, when you're going to see the band for your wedding, you're going there with a critical eye. 100%. So the experience that you have watching that band compared to the experience of someone who also is in the room but is having a few drinks and having a good time, it's a whole different experience, a completely different experience. Yeah. So I would say anyone who's going to research in a band, first of all, go on social media, look at their page, look at their reviews, look what other people are saying about them. Yeah, it's a big thing. Google a band and see and go to independent sources. There's loads of wedding forums out there, Okay. And in wedding forums where other brides have been talking to each other, and it's not. I say brides because it's normally brides who are more proactive with that kind of thing. Yeah. So you'll see what they're saying, and if a band has got a bad reputation, they'll get found out fairly quickly, or at least you'd hope so anyway.
It'll all start to piece together, I suppose.
I think so. Yeah. I absolutely think so, and I think as well so we do showcases, and which are public events. Yeah. They can be either in hotels or in pubs.
But it's inviting people along.
Yeah. So if we're playing in the pub, it's open to anyone. Okay. Anyone can walk in. If we're playing in a hotel where we have a function room kind of booked out, it'll be by invite only. Okay. Now, but again, it's a kind of an artificial kind of environment, especially the hotel. Yeah. All we're really doing in there is presenting, how we sound. Yeah, 100%. But you're not part of the party, I suppose, are you? Yeah. And in the pub is kind of, but what I would say is that anybody who's going, whatever, it doesn't matter what band it is, whoever you're booking, go see them at a wedding. Yeah. Stand in the back of the room for a few minutes if you need to. You're going to feel awkward, that's fine. Don't worry about it, because the bride who is up on a dance floor with her groom, she did that last year. Yeah. That's it. And no one will notice. Absolutely. Honestly, no one's going to notice you standing at the back of the room. We'll always ask, and we'll always get permission first before we do anything, because at the end of the day, you're kind of crashing the witness. Yeah, a little bit. We all love to do a wedding crash. But we will. So that's why it's important to get, make sure the bride and groom whose day it is are comfortable with someone in the back of the room, and John, they always are.
It's sure it's only a few minutes, someone standing there having a feel for a couple of songs,
but you'll see the band in action in the real life environments. You'll see them doing their thing what they do. When myself and Mary got married, I ended up having my own band play for us. I got a singer in, but I had actually gone looking for bands. We were going to go and get an actual wedding band in, and a couple of bands that we had contacted wouldn't allow us to come to the wedding to see them. Now I don't know whether it's because I'm in a wedding band.
And they didn't want to share their secrets.
Yeah, maybe, or they weren't confident. Maybe. I don't know. But for me, it's been a red flag. For me, like if they're not inviting you to a wedding, then I don't know. I just think that there could be something.
Because seeing a band live, whether it's in a wedding or even if it's a showcase, like it is kind of like you would encourage it. Like just trying to go off YouTube videos and stuff like that. It can be.
Now we've had couples, especially couples who are living in like Australia or Canada,
of course,
who will book us off the back of our video. So it is important to have like a good produced video online.
Yes.
I see a lot of bands do themselves a disservice by putting up below par kind of videos.
Yeah, and like because people ask us all the time, can you recommend a good wedding band? And there's a few I have to say, please don't judge them by their online videos. They're not different in live, but they're so much better live. They're just not doing themselves justice, I suppose. And it can kind of come across a little bit too staged, whereas live is like it's it's in the moment, it's fresh, it's interacting, and it's difficult for you.
But I guess there's some I guess like everything, it's like every industry. There's some bands that are on top of their game when it comes to social media, and there's some bands that are that don't see the full potential that it actually brings, which is huge.
And I suppose you want to kind of book someone as well that is active, that is showing that they're not busy, but they're out there and they're performing week after week, I suppose, and the responsiveness as well, that if you send an email, they'd actually get an answer. Because I hear this from couples as well. They're a great band, but I emailed them like 3 weeks ago about my first dance song, and I haven't heard anything back from them. And as you were saying earlier, like it's so important to get good notice when it comes to, especially if you're learning it.
That would make me nervous.
Exactly.
If I was the groom and I was contacting one of my suppliers and they weren't getting back to me, that would make me nervous.
Yeah, exactly. And you want it from the beginning. You just want that kind of rapport between yourself and the couple, that you're putting at ease, I suppose. Just
So like when it was for the longest time, for the first couple of years I wasn't really too involved. There was like in the we have management in Dublin that look after our bookings for us. So like I for the longest time I wasn't getting in contact with the bride and grooms, but it's something that we started to do now, where it's like I know them before I get there.
It's so important.
It's absolutely so important.
Because people have such different personalities as well. You kind of get a feel for who they are. Because you can walk in and every wedding's so different. Like, because even the themes to weddings nowadays, you could walk in, it could be a full goth wedding, or it could be fairy tale princess Disney kind of thing, and these things, I suppose, it doesn't impact you hugely, but at the same time, if it's a very rock crowd, you need to know it's a very rock crowd.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And sometimes we're not told, we're not given that information, and we kind of figure it out as we go, because they didn't dance to the waltzes, they didn't dance to the country. Oh wait, no, now they're dancing to Sweet Child of Mine. Okay, I know what the crack
Here we
is.
go. That's what's happening. That's what's happening. I suppose, and when it comes to actually, like, if you've seen you like ye, when it comes to actually like getting a booking in there, like, so
our philosophy is that you should be able to book us in 30 seconds.
Okay, make it easy.
100%. Yeah, you should be able to book us in 30 seconds.
Okay.
So we have it on our website. You can check our availability. If we're available, you can.
It's all online. Brilliant.
It's completely all online. And you can book us through our booking forms, and it will tell you if the availability is there.
Okay.
And you can provisionally book that date.
So you can hold it for a certain amount of time, is it?
It's usually about between 2 and 3 weeks you can hold it. So that gives you an opportunity to come see us.
Brilliant.
As well as that, like, I'm always open to, like, anyone that comes to see us, stick around for a while, check us out, and then if you want to come chat with me, I'm open to come and talk to anyone, and like, I actually enjoy talking to people. So
I suppose the good thing is, I was kind of reverting a little bit back, is when you go see live at the wedding, it's the band are going to be there and you've an idea what the band are going to do, but it's actually to see your full setup, because you've got a pretty cool lighting set up, you know, you've put a lot into to add to the atmosphere, I suppose, of the room, when it's not just drum kit, mic, here we go kind of thing. Like there's a lot more kind of to it.
And you know, each element brings its own kind of thing to it, but it all kind of, the bigger picture of it is to create an atmosphere.
Yeah, that's it.
And we had this thing for a while where it's like, you know, we wanted to bring that kind of big stage show to a small venue, you know, and so like we have like we have that light show with, and a big sound, and so big sound, but not a loud sound. Yeah, that
if you're the table closest to the band, you have to move to the back of the room.
Yeah.
Because the ears adjust. And
so we're very conscious of that, because we want people to be able to have conversations and talk and have a good time.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just about us. Hey, I'm here. You know,
all focus on me if you like it or not.
No, we're not done. We're not done with that. Like, you know, we want people. Okay. So, you know, we focus on the dance floor. But let people have their space and let people be able to chat and have conversations.
That's it. And I suppose when it comes to it as well, like when you're researching bands and you found your band, and I think a lot of people talk to us a lot about the price of bands. And I'm not asking you to tell me what price your band is, but I'm just in the general of, I think people are sometimes a little bit taken back by how much a wedding band costs. But you're paying for so much more than you think you are, I suppose. Absolutely. When it comes down to it. Like, a pub band's one thing, a wedding band's another thing. It's a different, like, talent.
Absolutely, and different responsibility.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
So the responsibility, like, so with a pub, you've got like a business that's paying you, and sometimes like a pub can offer you maybe 12 gigs throughout the year. Yeah. So where as a couple, obviously, can only offer you one off gig.
You're gonna get married once, hopefully.
Yeah. And like it's quite a cost for a couple to bear. So it's a big responsibility on us to make sure that, you know, we're giving them the absolute value for every cent that they've paid.
That's it.
And like, so there's also, bearing in mind, could be up to 6 people getting paid. Yeah. You know, it's not just like
one guy's getting a lump sum kind of thing.
There's a whole bunch of people getting paid, and there's a whole bunch of expenses. Yeah. You know, there's big investments made in the equipment and everything else, and then there's also the time that's spent rehearsing for it. Yeah. You know, so there's a whole host of things.
And as you said, like, even getting to the venue, getting back from the venue, it's the setup before, it's the takedown after. It's not just, I can't justify paying them for 2 hours. Like, it just seems it's not 2 hours. It's so much more than that.
It's a whole bunch of other stuff. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. You know, so I'm based out of Clarny. Okay. And I just saw a gig come in there for Rathmullen, which is in County Donegal.
Which is what hours drive? It's like, what, 5-6 hours?
Probably we might get there maybe about four and a half, maybe, depending on.
I was exaggerating just to troll. Yeah.
But it's still, it could be a 9-hour round trip.
Yeah, that's it.
You know, and then we're playing for 2 hours. Yeah. But like, that's 11 hours, 11 hour day, like, you know.
That's it. Yeah. And it's every ounce of your being. Yeah.
And it's not just that day either, like, you know. As I said, like, there could be a couple of evenings there where we've gotten together. So like all the lads in the band, and like this is the same for a lot of bands. Okay. They don't all live in the same area. Yeah, that's true. So we're traveling a couple of hours just to meet to practice. Yeah. To get that first hand spot on for people. Absolutely. Yeah. No, in fairness, we're lucky in the sense that, like, bride and groom seem to have a similar taste in first dances, because a lot of them get recycled. Yeah. Well,
I think, what was it, 2 years ago, I think Ed Sheeran was probably the most played first dance song ever. Yeah.
Thinking Out Loud or Perfect, which I can't remember which actual song it was, but Ed Sheeran, he knows what he's at.
He does. Like, he knows how to get those first dance out there. That's it. And at the moment, it's the one. I hear that a lot.
Cuddling.
Yeah, the one a lot. Yeah. But there's nothing wrong with that. It's just, that's what people are. It's a song that means something to that couple at the beginning of their relationship. Do you know?
Absolutely. And I think it's important to pick a song that is symbolic for something. Like, you know.
Yeah. Some sort of meaning.
Absolutely.
Some sort of background. Exactly. But I mean, I suppose, so you've done the booking. The band is set, you've got the wedding date. What kind of communication should the couple have with you prior to the wedding, I suppose?
Okay, so like we're never off limits. Okay. So they can have as much communication with us as they want. I'm usually available about a month before the wedding. Okay.
There's no need to be getting on 6 months beforehand. No, going through details.
You can, but you can if you want to. and the more prepared you are, the better it's going to be, like, you know, and the more prepared that you make your suppliers, I think, the better it is.
100%, yeah.
So like I would encourage people, absolutely, if you've got songs in your head that you want played, send them to us as early as possible. That gives us time to prepare. It doesn't put us under pressure, and because what I find is that, like, the more freer we are of stress and pressure on the night, the better it is, because we can focus on what we're there to do.
100%, yeah. And that's why you're there, I suppose, and that's the whole point. Sorry, that's the whole point. That's what I'm trying to get to. But I mean, for you then as well, like, you do so much singing.
Yeah.
Your voice, you must have to look after your voice.
Absolutely. It's so, like, I don't drink or smoke.
Okay.
So that
very
helps.
Well behaved. Well done.
Yeah, absolutely. So that helps massively.
Yeah.
The Manuka honey often gets broken out, and as well as that, we kind of. So I've learned over the years to be a little bit more strategic with my kind of with our bookings. Where, so, like, there would have been a time where we could have taken on 10 or 12 days
back
in a
to
row,
back.
and that is a killer, man.
I don't know how you do it.
Like, I don't, and the thing is, the way I look at it is, like, the bride and groom on night 1 are getting a fresh band, and the bride and groom on night 12, they don't know that we've just played 11 gigs.
But there has to be some sort of difference, though, in your energy levels. Like, you're human.
Absolutely, we're absolutely, and, like, we're traveling then all around that as well, like, you know. And so, like, what I've decided to do over the last couple of years is, like, we might do 3 to 4. Take a day break.
Yes. And
then do another 3 or 4. You know.
Yeah.
Especially, like, and around Christmas time, especially,
it's crazy. You could work all the way through for 2 weeks full.
Yeah.
And we're the same as photographers. We will only do 2 in a row because we do 14-hour days with people.
Yeah. No,
so by the time you get to day 3, who am I? I don't know who you are.
Yeah. I often arrive to whenever I arrive to weddings and I see the video, I always have sympathy for and empathy for the videographers and the photographers.
Yeah.
Because they have been there all day long. Yeah. And so, like, one of the big questions we often get from those guys is what time are you going to do the first dance? Because I know you're eager to leave because you've been there all day.
Yeah.
So, like, we have done our best to kind of, like, our setup time is about 40 minutes.
Yeah, well, that's quite quick. Because I've seen bands set up for an hour and a half, an hour and 3/4.
That's important to everyone, I think, to have that kind of
you know what's happening,
expediency, to get it as quickly as possible.
Yeah, and I suppose for you guys as well, when it comes to start times, and I know a lot of couples are very fixated on, you know, the running of the day, and they should have a plan. Well, a goal, I suppose, more than a plan of the running of the day. But when they say the band's going to start at, say, for example, 9 o'clock. For you guys, it's not just, you know, how quick you're setting up. It's when you can access the room.
Absolutely, 100%.
There's some days where I've been sitting out in the lobby with you chatting away, but you can't get at the room because the speech has been done a little bit longer. Yeah. The service isn't over. You know, the stage might have to be set up where the top table is. These are all things that, you know, just to consider. Like, it's not just band arrives, go.
And it's not just the band that's under pressure then.
It's the venue as well. Yeah.
You know, and it's all the other suppliers are under pressure too. A recent wedding that we did, the speeches were 2 hours long.
Yeah, we did that once.
And it's like, so, and then it's so, like, then the hotel have to really hustle to get all the food out as quickly as possible. Yeah. And in fairness, like, the hotel that we were in at the time, they nailed it. Like, and we were on for 10:30, even though even though the speeches went on for that long, like, the hotel were able to claw back that time, like, you know. But no, it is important to have you know. And even for our guests, like, you know, like,
well, that's it, because I suppose with you guys, I know you provide a DJ service as well, don't you? So, like, the band comes on, the band plays for 2.5 hours.
We'll always we'll always, we're happy to sacrifice the DJ's time.
Okay.
Rather our own. Only because, like, the price difference is vast.
Yes. And if you've paid for a band to play for a certain amount of time, you pay for it. Like, if it happens, so it runs on and it doesn't start at 11, half 11.
We started gigs at 12 o'clock.
Really? Okay. Yeah. And did you play through?
And we played all the way through. And we played till 2. Okay. Or, no, 2:15.
Yeah.
And then the DJ got to play for 10 minutes. So
he had a great night.
He got to play Maniac 2000 twice. Okay. The national anthem at the end of the night. Okay. Yeah, that was it. You know, so, we will. So DJs probably aren't happy with this, but we'll sacrifice their time over ours. Yeah. We will always get the bride and groom.
And that's really important for couples to kind of be aware of or know about, because I know not every band would function that way. Everyone has their own way of doing things, and there's nothing wrong with that. But when it comes to situations, it's not the bride and groom's fault. It's not your fault. It's not the venue's fault. It's just a combination of things happened. But to know that, you know, your band are still going to play for the time you're paying them for is such a, like, it's a load off.
And whenever we arrive at the venue, so I'll always touch base with the wedding partner, let them know that we're here. Who normally in turn will tell the bride and groom, look, the band are outside of the
which is a great thing, because you'd hate to think, well, where are the bands?
I know, yeah.
Are they coming?
I will always reassure them right before we do the first dance, because I always go to the bride and groom, kind of let them know what we're going to do for the first dance, how we're going to approach it, and what they need to do, which is normally just kind of like linger in the back of the room
so they can make their little bit of an entrance onto the dance floor.
But at that stage, I'll always tell them, because they'll say often, like, they're aware of the day running late, and they'll be saying, "Oh, we're so sorry, that's running late." And I'll always take that opportunity to reassure them right there and then that, look, we're going to do our full thing no matter what. And like even if we have to go, like, we won't take a break in the middle in order to do our full thing.
Which is a lot of pressure on you as well. Like, it's a lot of energy to play through like that kind of thing. Because how many songs would you get in that kind of time?
Because we have about 40, I'd say.
Okay, wow. Okay.
Some are 40 odd. Only because, like, we take no breaks in between songs.
Yeah, that you're just going song. Yeah.
And, like, there is, like, I do have the banter with the crowd, but I do it in parts where there's no vocal over the music.
Okay,
so,
I see what
like,
you mean.
There's still a scope for me to talk to the crowd, and I go, and like,
and I've seen you out on the dance floor. Yeah.
And I'll go with the microphone, and I get the guests to kind of sing a line of the song, which is a good old crack, like, in fairness. But our thing is, like, it's ever flowing, like, all the way through, start to finish.
It's important. It's so important. But I think this has been really kind of. A lot of things we talked about here today, couples would have been very just kind of unaware. And why would they know about it? Because they don't go out and get married every day. And whereas where we live and breathe this industry, it's what we do. I suppose before we wrap everything up, is there any single piece of information or advice you would give to couples, kind of like the one thing to kind of look out for when it comes to bands?
Okay, so with bands, I think it's very important to do your research. Make sure that the band they've got, like, a solid amount of good reviews. Check out their social media presence, and then ultimately go see them. And even when you go see them, don't be afraid to go talk to them. Have a chat with them. Face to face in person, because you'll get a good measure of a person by just talking to them.
That's it, because I mean, when you're booking the band, you're booking you as a person as well.
Absolutely. And, like, John, there's been times there where people have said, "Are you definitely going to be in the band now in 2022?"
Well, not all bands. Some bands they mix up their band members. So they might be leaned one thing, but they have a wide range of musicians that come in. Absolutely.
But with those bands, with those type of bands, it's important that you still get to pick your lead singer.
Because I think, especially when it comes to male or female vocalist, very, very different feel to the room, kind of thing. And I know some bands have both. Whereas you guys, you are the Pearls. We have, like, and it's the same bunch. It's the same 5 lads. So, like, who you book on that night is the same. It's the exact same band that you will get on the night of your wedding. And you play so often together, I suppose, just to look in a direction and you know what the person's saying to you. Kind of thing. It's silent communication. I feel like I do with Benny. The dirty look. Just stop doing that.
Absolutely. And I have to always reassure the lads, like, I'm sorry, I don't mean it. It's a natural reaction. You know, like, if I hear something that's weird, I'm going to be looking at you strange.
But you're better off, because you don't want the dance floor to then hear if something went strange, because these things happen.
Absolutely. And I think, John, the thing is, like, the lads sometimes, so I'm the connection with the floor to the band. And so I'm constantly scanning and reading all the time. All the time. Where the lads are focusing on what they're doing.
Well, they have to, I suppose.
I'll turn around to the lads and I'll be calling the songs as we go. Like, but it's important that, like, you know, I stay on top of both things. What's going on behind me and what's going on in front of me.
It's a lot.
It can be. But it's good fun, though, and I love it. I absolutely love it.
I think that's a big thing. You have to have the passion for it. If you're not passionate about it, it'll just be so obvious that you're just going through the motions.
Absolutely. And like there are, like, in every industry, there are chancers and charlatans who will go through the motions because you're paying them big bucks.
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately, it's right, because it gives the rest of us a bad name. And I that's why I think, going back to what I was saying, the advice is, like, do your research. You know, make sure they've got good reviews from independent sources. Because, like, what's stopping any of us from writing our own reviews and like, John?
Loads of false profiles.
Absolutely, you know. So just make sure, John, it's legit. John, look into the band and then go see them and go talk to them. And I think you'll get a good feel for them.
Yeah, and just see how like accommodating they are as well.
Absolutely.
Because you have to accommodate. Like there's obviously certain things you can't say yes to everything, but you should at least be compromising if you can't say a full yes.
Strive towards saying yes to everything.
Yeah.
Like, so like just going back to like one of the things that we're talking about there about like John, like the time in which the bride and groom expect you to start.
Yeah.
So like if a bride and groom are looking for like if they say to us like we want you to start for 9:00, I'll always offer, well, can I come into the room before you sit down for your meal, and I'll set up all my gear before.
Okay.
So that will
if it really means something to them to be started at that time.
At least that mitigates that time that will be spent setting up after the meal.
Yeah.
So if the venue is able to accommodate the band before the meal, can we do that? And it makes our day longer. And we're not charging any extra for doing that.
And I suppose if you're travelling a long way, you're kind of hanging around then.
And you could be leaving, and my poor wife doesn't see me like from one weekend to the next. You know, like so, like
divorce.
But, like,
do you do divorces?
We do divorce parties and do all sorts of parties. But like that, like John, we it goes back to striving towards accommodating as much as you possibly can. If we have to start our day a few hours earlier, so be it.
Yeah.
If it makes it easier and makes the whole process better, absolutely.
That's great though, because it's all about them, and it's one day, and it's such a massive day for people.
It's huge.
And
it's huge.
Yeah, and they need people in their corner.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you know what? Look, they've paid enough money for it.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, like let's give them the absolute value the way we can for every cent that they've paid us.
100%. Alec, it's been amazing.
Thank you so much for having me.
No, you're so welcome, and thank you for sharing so much
Not
information.
It's been an absolute pleasure.
Yeah, I've learned so much.
Thank you so much.